Vasco da Gama was a Portuguese explorer who lived during the 15th and 16th centuries. He is best known for being the first European to sail directly from Europe to India by sea, establishing a new trade route. Here are some key details about Vasco da Gama. Early life. Vasco da Gama was born around 1460 in Sines, a small town in Portugal. He came from a noble family and grew up with an interest in exploration and navigation. Exploration of Africa. In 1497, King Manuel I of Portugal commissioned Vasco da Gama to find a sea route to India, bypassing the land routes controlled by Muslim traders. Da Gama set sail from Lisbon with a fleet of 4 ships, and after several months of sailing along the western coast of Africa, he rounded the Cape of Good Hope in 1498. Arrival in India. Vasco da Gama reached the port of Calicut, now Kozhikode, in southwestern India in May 1498. His arrival created a sensation as the Portuguese were the first Europeans to directly access the lucrative Indian spice trade. Return and further expeditions. Da Gama returned to Portugal in 1499, bringing back valuable spices and establishing Portuguese control over the sea route to India. He made 2 subsequent voyages to India, in 1502 to 1503 and 1524 to 1525, to reinforce Portuguese influence in the region. Legacy. Vasco da Gama's voyages had a profound impact on European exploration and trade. His successful circumnavigation of Africa demonstrated the feasibility of long-distance sea voyages, paving the way for further European exploration and colonization around the world. Later life and death. After his final expedition to India, Vasco da Gama retired from active exploration and settled into a political career in Portugal. He held various administrative positions but eventually fell out of favor with the king. Da Gama died in Cochin, India, on December 24, 1524, while on his 3rd expedition. Vasco da Gama's expeditions opened up new trade routes and established Portugal as a major maritime power during the Age of Discovery. His accomplishments played a significant role in shaping world history and the subsequent European colonization of Asia. Here are some lesser-known facts about Vasco da Gama. 1. Early naval experience. Before his famous voyage to India, Vasco da Gama had previous naval experience. He participated in several military campaigns against North African cities, gaining knowledge and skills in navigation and naval warfare. 2. Family connection. Vasco da Gama came from a family with a rich maritime heritage. His father, Estevão da Gama, was a renowned explorer and served as the commander of the Order of Santiago, a Portuguese military and religious order. 3. Secretive navigation techniques. Da Gama's successful navigation to India was partially attributed to his use of secretive navigation techniques. He kept a tight lid on his navigational methods, making it difficult for his competitors and other nations to replicate his routes. 4. Hostile encounters. During his first voyage to India, Vasco da Gama faced several hostile encounters with local rulers and traders. He resorted to force and intimidation to secure advantageous trading agreements, leaving a mixed reputation among those he encountered. 5. Controversial tactics. Da Gama was known for employing ruthless tactics in his interactions with local populations. He often used violence and intimidation to establish Portuguese dominance and secure trade concessions. These tactics contributed to the brutal reputation associated with early European exploration. 6. Pilgrim ship. In addition to his exploration ventures, Vasco da Gama played a role in organizing the first pilgrimage to Mecca by a ship from Portugal. This gesture aimed to establish diplomatic relations with Muslim rulers and secure favorable trading conditions. 7. Cultural assimilation. Unlike some of his contemporaries, Vasco da Gama showed an inclination toward cultural assimilation during his expeditions. He learned the local languages, customs, and traditions of the places he visited, enabling better diplomatic interactions. 8. Contested legacy. Despite his notable achievements, Vasco da Gama's legacy remains contested. While he is celebrated in Portugal as a national hero and pioneer of global exploration, his ruthless tactics and brutal treatment of indigenous populations have drawn criticism. These lesser-known facts shed light on different aspects of Vasco da Gama's life and expeditions, offering a more nuanced perspective on his historical significance. Here are some fun facts about Vasco da Gama. 1. Nickname. Vasco da Gama was sometimes referred to as the Navigator due to his remarkable skills in navigation and exploration. 2. Adventurous siblings. Vasco da Gama came from a family of explorers. His two brothers, Paulo and Nicolau, also embarked on their own expeditions, with Paulo traveling to India and Nicolau exploring the African coast. 3. Astronomical interest. Da Gama had an interest in astronomy and celestial navigation. He relied on celestial observations, such as using the position of stars, to navigate during his voyages. 4. Encounter with a rhinoceros. During his first voyage to India, Vasco da Gama encountered a rhinoceros in present-day Mozambique. He described the creature in his journal, providing Europeans with one of the first detailed accounts of this exotic animal. 5. Literary mentions. Vasco da Gama's voyages have been mentioned in various literary works. Notably, he is featured in the epic poem The Lusíads, Os Lusíadas, by the Portuguese poet Luís de Camões, which glorifies Portugal's maritime achievements. 6. Dramatized portrayal. Da Gama's life and expeditions have inspired dramatic adaptations. One notable example is the opera Vasco da Gama, also known as El Africain, composed by Giacomo Meyerbeer, which tells a fictionalized account of his voyage to India. 7. Posthumous recognition. In 1898, more than 3 centuries after his death, Vasco da Gama's remains were brought back to Portugal and interred in the Jerónimos Monastery in Lisbon, honoring his contributions to Portuguese exploration. 8. Commemorative statues. Vasco da Gama is commemorated with several statues around the world. Notable examples include a statue in Lisbon, Portugal, overlooking the Tagus River, and another statue in Kozhikode, India, where he first arrived in 1498. These fun facts provide a glimpse into the adventurous life of Vasco da Gama and the enduring impact of his expeditions on history, literature, and commemoration.